COVID-19. Members of the public may observe the meeting at the teleconference location above. Members of the public may offer public comment by email to Susie Kubota, Skubota, Skubota at pleasanthillrec.com prior to the close of the public comment period for the agenda item on which they would like to comment. So with that, we will call the meeting to order. We will open up with the Pledge of Allegiance. So please join me in the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag, the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Awesome. Thank you much. All right. Please let the record show that all board members are present with the exception of Chair Shess, who is excused this evening. That moves us on to public comment, which is an item, an opportunity for members of the public to speak on items not on tonight's agenda. Do not see any hands raised on the attendees or the panelists. Susie, do we have any public comment to read into the record?
No, there were no emails received for public comment.
Great, thank you. All right, with that, we will move on to item number 4, which is report from ex officio Sophia DeVille. Sophia.
Hi, I'm just going over a few of the things that we've been working on at Teen Council. Our last meeting was Monday, the 25th of January, and that was our first meeting of the year. Right now, we're just trying to plan some virtual events for teens, possibly doing like a virtual art contest or something like that, and we're still doing brainstorming. And that's all for Teen Council for right now. At College Park, we normally have a multicultural rally, but because of COVID, obviously we're not having one this year. So we're trying to do one online. So people will send in their videos, and I think they're going to edit together a big long video for that. Usually people do dances and stuff like that for it. And then our Interact Club at College Park is writing letters to the teachers, like saying thank you, because it's hard teaching on Zoom. It's hard to learn on Zoom, and it's hard to teach on Zoom sometimes. So we're just telling them thank you for all the amazing things that they've been doing and all their hard work they've been putting in. And I at my front door, or picking them up from their doorstep, and I've been donating them to the Friends of the Pleasant Hill library store in downtown Pleasant Hill. And that's all I have to report today.
Well, that's great. Multicultural rally was always one of my favorites at College Park every year. So that's a bummer. I'm glad that they're finding a virtual way to do that. So does anybody have any questions, comments for Sophia? All right. Well, thank you, Sophia. Stay safe, stay healthy, and we look forward to seeing you again in a couple weeks.
Thank you. Bye.
Yeah. Bye.
All right, brings us to item number 5, which is a report from General Manager.
Great, thank you, Vice Chair Glover, members of the board. I attached a written report in your board packet. So in addition to that, I wanted to highlight a couple of things, and I have a couple of things to add. First, the agenda for the retreat, which is going to happen next Thursday at 9 a.m. will go out to you tomorrow afternoon. There will be just one small staff report to read, so there's not a lot of pre-work, but just as an FYI, that will go out to you tomorrow afternoon. And then we are planning on offering to deliver lunch. So we'd like to try to make this as as normal as possible virtually. So you're going to also get a lunch order. So if you'd like to order lunch, we're going to order that through Susie, and we will have it delivered. So we would like to, during the virtual retreat, have an opportunity to kind of have some lunch together. And so that is going to be offered. So please work with Susie on that. You'll get instructions on that tomorrow as well. Last night, we had the first of the Chopin-Sango Park meetings virtually. It went really well. We had a few residents that were on the call and provided some great insight. We have our second meeting will be on site on Saturday at 10 a.m. Right now, weather permitting, but it looks like it should clear around 10 a.m. So that is the plan. So if anybody can be out, is going to be out there, I will be out there and talking to residents at that point in time. and the rest of the schedule is in the report. So excited about that. And then just a reminder, Monday is a holiday, so staff will not be in the office. The office will be closed. We will have limited park staff on, opening bathrooms and doing some minimal maintenance, but for the most part, we will be closed on Monday for the observance of President's Holiday. So with that, I'll take any questions.
All right, thank you, Michelle. Anybody have any questions of Michelle? Go ahead, Secretary Bonato.
Yeah, Michelle, I was wondering if you could, first of all, great praise to the senior staff for working on vaccine appointments for seniors who aren't otherwise able to log on and get them. That's an enormous contribution. Do we have to ask any personal information though, personal medical information though, in order to be able to do that? And if so, how are we handling that?
The only information we need to ask, not any medical information, the only information we need to ask is address, email address, and birth date. And those, we're not writing any of that down. Someone will, the staff will be doing that verbally and entering it in to the form and on behalf of the senior. So those are the only things that we need to ask. So nothing beyond that.
Nothing confidential. Good, thank you. Yeah. And again, thank you for doing that.
You're welcome. Yeah, it took staff a little bit of time to kind of figure out the process themselves, and they had been helping some, but realized that we hadn't actually broadcast that out. So now that staff is able to do that, so they're quickly helping as many people as possible. So,
any other questions, comments? All right, thank you, Michelle. All right, now brings us to the consent calendar, which is item number 6, which is item A is the approve the bills to be paid and warrants, and then the minutes of January 14th and January 28th. Are there any questions on any of the bills to be paid on any of those items? Board Member Tran.
I just wanted to make a correction on the January 28th meeting minutes. Can I just make the correction, or do we have to pull it out of the consent calendar? Or?
You provided me the correction, so you can just say what your correction is for the record, and then we can just move on at that point in time.
Oh, okay. So the part where under announcements, under my announcement, it should read, he reported on several MLK events he attended, where one was a 4-day virtual documentary film festival hosted at the MLK Research and Educational Institute at Stanford, where on the last day, the theme was, where do we go from here? One of the films was the Oakland MLK Oratorical, where pre-K to 12th grade students gave powerful speeches on diversity. He said it was a moving documentary and encouraged the board to watch it. So just a couple of wording just to make it more clear. Thank you.
Did you get that, Michelle, or can
Yeah, we already yeah. So
okay.
So Board Member Tran, he provided that to us ahead of time, which is fantastic.
I was trying to write it down.
It was wrong, so I sent it ahead of time. So I said,
he did the correct thing and sent that to us ahead of time, so we had it. Perfect. So
thank you.
But thank you for asking.
Okay. Any other questions on the bills to be paid, warrants, minutes? If not, I will entertain a motion with the proposed changes to the minutes.
I motion to have the minutes approved and the warrants paid.
I'll second.
All right, we've got a motion and a second. Any other further comment? Questions? All right, Michelle, you're gonna call.
Board Member Tran.
Yes.
Board Member Vinson.
Yes.
Secretary Bonato.
Yes.
And Vice Chair Glover.
Yes.
Great. Motion carries 4-0.
All right. Thank you all very much. Brings us to item number 7, which is update on plans for the 2021 Dolphins recreation swim team season.
Great. Thank you, Vice Chair Glover, members of the board. So as the board is aware, last March, we had to shut down the pool and we didn't have a swim season due to the COVID pandemic restrictions. In addition to that, we made some changes and cuts to the budget that impacted or potentially impacted future season. And so in order to give you an update on what our plans are for 2021, I have Aquatics Manager Corey Riley here. She provided a written report, but she's also going to give you a brief verbal report on that information. And then both Corey and I are here to answer any questions about the upcoming season and how it might be affected due to pandemic and COVID restrictions. So I'm going to turn that over to Corey.
Thank you very much. So as I said in my report, it was not last year, not a normal season at all. And our goal really this year for 2021 is to have a season as close to normal as possible. We know that that is what our participants want and what they need. That's been so unnormal. Things have been so different in all their lives that we want to bring some normalcy back. Some differences that I wanted to just highlight. We opened registration at the beginning of February this year. We would normally open registration in December when we do our winter spring spotlight. So that was a difference. We were waiting to see what was going to happen with the health orders. Despite that, our registration numbers actually, we can't make an apple to apples comparison as to where we were this time last year. But we have 29 swimmers that are registered right now. That includes 10 mini dolphins. We have 18 families, and 9 of them are new families. I know looking at the roster, 2 of them I can pick out by name participated in our CARES program last year. That was one of the ways that we let people know about the season is we all the CARES participants from the pool, as well as our surf and turf fall program, we let them know that registration was opening. I've already submitted permits to Mount Diablo Unified so that we can, be over there at the Ed Center pool for practices. I have been in touch with my contacts at the school district. I actually spoke with one of them today. Like everyone else, they are waiting to see the cases and what's happening with the cases. So they're not ready to review permits, but they had told me months ago when we'd spoken that I could get the permits in and they would be there. And, when they started looking at them, they would be ready to go. And then I think the last thing I wanted to just highlight before I, happy to answer any questions is that I am, as I said in the memo, active in various networks with NRPA, which is the National Recreation Park Association, our state society, CPRS, both at the state and at our local level, and then with our Bay Area pool operator group. So we all talk and share information. So not just for the swim team and how people are running swim meets, but all of the aquatics operations. We're chatting and sharing information and trying to help each other problem solve so that we can be safe and have programs.
Corey, before I turn it over to the board, can you talk about the conversations you've had with the Dolphins Parents Club about the upcoming season and this proposal specifically?
Yeah, I would actually say that all of the information that is in the memo is the information that I've shared with the Parent Club even before I wrote the memo. So they meet monthly and they met in January. We had discussions about, what potentially is going to happen. And then as the board agenda was finalized, I did, forward them the agenda so they could see the report. And we had a meeting on, their meeting was Monday for February. And, had an opportunity for them to ask questions and share feedback. And I think it was, they kind of had been prepped for it because we had discussed it already in January. So I didn't get a lot of questions from them. They're ready for their kids to get in the water.
And Corey, can you talk a little bit about, the budget that is presented in here that we're budgeting exceeds the cost recovery goal that the board has set at 70%. Can you talk a little bit about kind of how that happens with this budget compared to what we've seen in the past?
Yeah, so if I look at the budget that we have there in the memo, just to make sure I don't miss anything, I think the 2 biggest changes in the previous budget are the head coach and then the pool. So the head coach has gone from a full-time position to what we call a category B So they would be a part-time PERS employee. So that represents the entirety of their, the hours that we've allocated for the season, along with some of those extras like PERS and workers' comp that are on top. And then in the previous budgets, we had the maintenance of the pool, and I do not have that number memorized or in front of me, so I couldn't tell you what that number was. But there is a difference in terms of maintaining the pool, the annual cost of that versus the rental that we have there, and that reflects, the rental of the time that we're using the pool for the Dolphins.
Okay, great. So with that, Vice Chair Glover, we will take any questions. I think that highlights the most important portions of the report, but Corey and I are here to answer any questions.
Great, thank you. Thank you for the report and the presentation. Let's go ahead and start with questions, and then we'll check in with Susie and see if we've got any comments. And looks like I think we.
It looks like
somebody's actually like following the rules here. Hey?
Yeah, about that.
All right, Secretary Bonato.
Corey, I was wondering if you could explain to us how the discussions with the school district went with respect to the pool.
I spoke with the, and I can't think of his title now, but David Hart, he's somebody that we've worked with for years. We have a really good relationship with him. And it was really, he understands our question and desire and eagerness to get back into the facility and to be over there. He doesn't have the answers, but, we're going to keep in touch. That's, we always kind of end our conversations with that, keep in touch. Specifically today, I asked him if he knew, when they did open their facilities up, would the school district be providing or dictating a safety plan, or would they expect the user groups that are using the facilities to provide a plan? He's not sure. I have a feeling with, and this is just my opinion, but with the number of user groups they have, I think it's probably going to be easier for them to dictate so that they're not having to manage, our use. He talked about churches that use their different facilities. But I let him know that we were willing to work with them, if that was going to help make things easier for us and easier for them to let us back in the facility, that we were certainly willing to provide those plans. We have plans already based on our facilities.
And Corey, do we have a commitment from the school district that so long as the pool is not being used by students, that the times that we have worked out will be committed to us? Or and I realize we all have to be flexible, but do we have some kind of a written agreement with the school district to that effect?
We don't have a written agreement, but we are the #1 priority after the school district in their own policy. So in their policy, it is school district, school functions, and then park and rec agencies. So we are the government park and rec agencies in their own policy. So we are first priority right after their own. So they need to look at our rentals first before they move on to other rentals. Okay. But the concern right now the school district isn't opening any of their facilities for community use. So the big question isn't necessarily, if they're going to use it versus us being able to use it. It's whether or not they're going to open it for community use based on the pandemic. And so, so that's, but they've accepted our rental applications, and they're just waiting for the okay from their superintendent that they can open the facilities, and then we'll get some guarantees at that point in time.
Well, tip of the hat then to those negotiations. So thank you. My question really did have to do with whether we were bumpable, and certainly for the students we were bumpable. But it sounds like we do have a policy commitment from them that if they do open and if it's available, that we can put some sort of commitment to the Dolphins that through us that pool would be available to them to the greatest extent possible.
And then Corey, just a follow up on that, which may help for everybody else. So if the school district pool doesn't open, we use the Pleasant Hill Park pool for the first couple of months of the season. Are you working on a contingency plan to make sure that we have some sort of a Dolphin season at Pleasant Hill Park?
Yes, it's contingency plans upon contingency plans. So yes, it would require shuffling, but I feel like in the last year I've become an expert at at shuffling that. So yes, we would certainly adjust the plans to be able to accommodate as many swimmers as we could at the park pool, along with the other programs that we have scheduled.
Yeah, so
And again, with priority being given in our pool to swim lessons?
yes.
Yeah, to the greatest extent.
Yeah, to the greatest extent,
Yes.
yeah. But we will,
Thank you.
yeah, we will do everything we can though, so.
All right, thank you. Other questions? I've got a couple. I'll hop in here and see if anybody else thinks of anything. But you talked about, delaying the signups from December to February, and how we had 30-ish, 40 signups. The memo does call for 173 swimmers at the 495 to reach that cost recovery goal. How confident are we? Based on where, I know it's difficult to say, where we're at and where we're going, but how we think we're going to get to the 173, or?
It's a concern, definitely. But when I was actually looking at the registration numbers so that I could be, prepared tonight and give you that information, this time last year we had 40 swimmers registered, and that was before any of the COVID restrictions started. And we're at 29 right now, and we've only had registration open for 11 or so days. So it definitely, when you look at it that way, it definitely looks doable.
Absolutely. I got one coming your way. Help me.
Excellent.
This is gonna be wild. Anything else? I think the other questions I had were regarding the pool availability, and Secretary Bonato asked those, and that was a big concern. So any other questions? All right, we will, go ahead.
Sandy has one.
Yeah, Bobby, I do have one. What is the difference in the fee from last year to this year? Because the cost recovery is, it's impressive. So what happened with the fee structure?
So we do a tiered registration structure for the Dolphins. The earlier you register, the cheaper it is. We want people, to make the commitment. Last year, the early bird registration was $467. This year, it's $495, and that's based on the resident price. Non-residents is an additional fee on top of that, and then the fee increases. So we opened at the beginning of February. It'll increase on March 1st, and then April 1st. And as we've had that tiered structure over the years, we tend to see registration increases right towards the end of the month before the price increases. So we'll see a surge of registrations there at the last minute.
But basically, this fee structure is pretty well consistent with the prior year.
Yes. Yeah, I would say the two items that I highlighted on the budget, the head coach salary along with the pool rental, those are probably the two biggest items contributing to the change in the cost recovery.
Thank you. All right, well, why don't we go ahead and open it up to public comment. Let's see if Susie, I don't see any hands. I don't know if anybody wrote in on this one.
And I'm just checking email, and we have no public comment on this agenda item.
All right, well, we'll go ahead and close public comment, bring it back, and I'll start with, I'm guessing that's a testament to the work that's been done by staff. And Corey, thank you, because based on the amount of public input we've had on the other items when the Dolphins swim team and season have been on, it's been considerable. So I want to kudos to staff and everybody and the Parents Club for the work that they've put into that too. And so, does anybody have any additional comments on the item? If not, best of luck, and yeah, I'll get my registrant in, and we'll hopefully, fingers crossed, this goes well. I'll get me on the record. I'm looking forward to it. Ask me that in end of July. So.
Can I request that statement is put into the minutes?
Absolutely.
And well, it is a good year. There'll be a lot less volunteer duty on deck this year. COVID protocols and all.
Awesome. All right. Thank you, Corey.
Thank you.
All right, let's move on to item number 8, which is verbal report from committee chair and opportunity to set meeting dates. Does not look like we have any scheduled. Do we need to schedule any, Michelle?
No, we're waiting until after the retreat. So
Gotcha. I figured as much. Okay, well, let's go move right on to board announcements and requests to staff. Board member Tran.
Just one announcement. Hopefully, everybody received a little something in your your packets. If you haven't, you can certainly open it. Consistent with ethics rules, I believe. I just wanted to give everybody a little something of very minimal value. So yes, go ahead and open that. Just wanted to say to everybody, Chúc mừng năm mới, which is Vietnamese for Happy Lunar New Year. So tomorrow, February 12th, we'll usher in the year of the ox. And given its role in agriculture and not only Asian society, but all across the world, the ox is often associated with positive characteristics like hard work and honesty, strength, intelligence, persistence, tolerance. And given the year we just had, hopefully the year of the ox will be much more fortuitous going forward. So what you have is a lisi, which is typically given amongst family members. And since this will be my new family for Thursday evenings, I wanted to give you all some well wishes and to wish everybody a prosperous new year. So happy new year, everybody.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
That is awesome. No, thank you, and happy new year to you, and happy new year to everybody out there. And thank you for that comment. I mean, I know we all feel like family. We're all going to spend a considerable amount of time together for the foreseeable future. So, Dr. Tran, thank you so much for this. This is great.
You're welcome.
Bobby, should we point out that these are chocolate?
They're chocolate.
Yeah.
I thought about putting cash, but then I said, wait a minute. What line am I crossing here?
he learns quickly on the ethics, and he hasn't even had the official ethics training yet. So
That's awesome. Well, thank you again. All right, board member Benson.
Well, let's see. I was able to complete the anti-harassment training about a week ago, I guess. So that's done. And that was interesting. I've done similar ones in the past. So it was pretty similar. I want to thank the staff for all the efforts that they've been making to communicate all the different activities, whether they're directly related to Rec and Park or whether they're posting some of the other activities through the city, the Civic Action Committee, and some of the Black History Month items that have been coming up. It's really been a delight, and it's just all this information that's out there and all the things that there are to do, to read, to participate in. There's just a wealth of activities. So I think the staff definitely is to be commended for what they're doing in communicating and part of that marketing effort.
Awesome. Thank you
And
so much. Yeah.
Happy Valentine's Day to everybody. And I have to, I'll give a shout out and a happy birthday tomorrow to my husband, Alan, who is turning 70. So he did receive his birthday card from Michelle.
That's awesome. Well, an early happy birthday to Mr. Benson, and thank you.
You can harass him later.
All right, Secretary Bonato.
Yes. First of all, I have noticed that the seals have been placed on the sign, at least at Roger Smith Park, and I assume on the other park areas as well. That would be Brookwood Park and Pasonigal?
no, Brookwood Park and Shannon Hills.
And Shannon Hills. Okay, good. Anyway, I assume that they're all there. So thank you to staff for the perseverance in making sure that happened. It would have been easy, I think, for the contractor to just think that we lost interest after a while, and we did not. So it's the signs are magnificent. Thank you. Up at the top of what I think is Dinosaur Hill, there are a couple of dead trees, and they're pretty visible, but also they've reached probably a state where if there was a fire up there, they could probably add to the chaos. I don't know if it's on park property, And I don't know if there's really a priority for those trees, but I just wanted to point out that they're visible, and if they're on our property, I was wondering if we could at least take a look at them and see if they should go on our list of trees to eliminate. I know we'll be wishing Kendra all the best as she moves to the middle of the country. But anyway, just wanted to acknowledge when I saw the news, it was difficult because she's just such an attribute to the district and has been for so long. So again, I know we'll be doing more soon, but I just wanted to give a shout out. And then last, I don't think I missed the last board meeting. I missed all of you, but I don't think we've had a board meeting since the state of the city. And I thought that Zach's presentation was beautifully done, obviously well supported by staff and lovely graphics and great information presented. But also I wanted to acknowledge Chair Shess and the light touch he brought to it that makes it so listenable to, and from that's how we learn. And also demonstrates that we're really about fun and about that wow experience. So very good job, Zach. Thank you very much for representing us. That's it, Bobby.
Awesome. No, thank you for acknowledging that. That was the one thing I had on mine was one to thank Susie for setting up the harassment training. But that for those of you that haven't taken it before, and board member Vincent, you have, it's like I always say, take your time, because you have a time allotment that they'll trigger you on. But yeah, compliments to Chair Shess, and again, in a virtual format, I was curious because I know Zach's great in person, and he has in the past, and I know that you can always tell, when somebody gets nervous about something, and I know that he took a lot of pride in that and was very excited to do it. And it was well represented, the district, and yeah, that was a good event all around. So with that, we can tell Zach that this meeting went till 9:30 and that it was very difficult, and we had lots of comment, but with that, we will go ahead and adjourn this meeting to, I guess we'll adjourn to our planning session on the 18th and our next board meeting on the 25th. So I don't see you before. I look forward to seeing everybody on the 18th.